It was so wonderful to see that she just started giggling and she didn't even know why. And it's all this weight is almost, I could see this weight that had just been lifted off her.
Yeah.
And in herself, she looked brighter and lighter. And then I saw her a few days later and I asked her how she'd been. She said, I haven't felt this good for I don't know how long. And when you get a client who says something like that, and when you experience them giggling when they didn't even know why they're giggling, that's what makes this worth doing.
Yeah.
Because it's a reminder to yourself that, yes, this is working. Is that some people won't present, if you like, until they are broken.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's totally understandable. And until and unless you are at the bottom of your barrel and you can't logically see any other hope or any other way out, I think you kind of have to reach that point at some point.
Yeah.
To then start seeing, hang on, I need to do something.
Yeah.
I need some help. Which is why with something like self-directed healing, you can't enforce it upon someone.
No.
They kind of need to, in their mind and in modern society, they need to exhaust all other possibilities. And yes, I've been to a psychologist, or I've been here and I've tried that. And, oh, what's this SDH thing? It's, you know, I've tried everything else. I've got nothing to lose. I'll try that now. You know, and I think to a large extent, people need to exhaust in their mind, they need to exhaust other avenues before they come to something that they're not aware of, something that is brand new.
Everyone knows. Yeah, everyone knows that. That's the problem. It's the path that is given to them by people that they trust. You know, doctor, psychologists. You know, going down that path, maybe taking some drugs even from the pharmacy or whatever, and that's all they know. And so that's their only avenue until desperation hits, and then they keep looking, right? And so it's that. But what's the point for that energy to then lift, for them to start looking at the alternatives? But it's sad, but look, at the end of the day, I think it's important for people like yourself to keep going and to present as an option, because the people need that as another option, because it works. These ways, these methods you're talking about, I know work. It fascinates me every time I see someone who's a client that, and I know straight away where to go. It's like, oh my God, that technique worked. Fantastic. It still blows me away to this day. And then when you see how clear they look at the end, it's fascinating. And the only real challenge is getting their ego to accept it. But if they're coming to the session willingly and their ego's on board, then it all works.
Yeah. And I think there comes a time, a point where you've hit the nail on the head with that word acceptance, because I've experienced clients who will come through the door to a group healing session, so they know they need something, but there's still something that's in the way of them accepting that they need to do something. So then they still hit a block. They've taken that first step of walking through the door, but until and unless they accept that they have to let go, they're not actually going to achieve anything. But in the same token, the SDH is an amazing tool, because whether you believe it or not, it's going to work. And that's what blows me away. I had one of my old clients pop into my head just talking to you then. And it was where we were talking about scraping the bottom of the barrel. It's like when you've at your wit's end and you've got nothing left. And I had a lady come to me and she was going through a horrible breakup. And it had been going on for a long time, and things had got drawn out, and there was nothing left in the tank, as it were. It was just like a shadow of herself. And she came to me, and I don't always do like face to face. It's usually in this kind of format where it's on Skype or something like that. But this lady actually came to my house, and she lay on the couch and we done a healing session, and I can't remember what the exact blocks were, which I wouldn't discuss anyway, but we done the self-directed healing session, and like I said earlier, usually people do like 1, 2, 3 sessions. We did 1 session, and before we started I was thinking she's probably going to need about 4 or 5 sessions. So we did this 1 session, and as I'm showing her to the door, she started giggling. Like, what's funny? And she goes, I don't know. She said, I just haven't felt any kind of joy or happiness for so long, and it was like it was bubbling up out of her. Wow. And it was just so wonderful to see. Sorry, I've got a fly. It was so wonderful to see that she just started giggling, and she didn't even know why. And it's all this weight. It's almost, I could see this weight that had just been lifted off her.
Yep.
And in herself, she looked brighter and lighter. And then I saw her a few days later, and I asked her how she'd been. She said, I haven't felt this good for I don't know how long. And when you get a client who says something like that, and when you experience them giggling when they didn't even know why they're giggling, that's what makes this worth doing.
Yeah.
Because it's a reminder to yourself that, yes, this is working. Because it's hard to know that something's working when you can't see it.
Yeah.
You have to believe that.
Important to do the follow-up, isn't it? Just to get the feeling. Like I was doing some work asking some past clients about testimonials, and yeah, it's like it was really good to hear about the positive benefits like 12 months later, or 6 months later, whatever it was. And I love that. And it's like, oh, that's actually really fulfilling. It's and to know you're actually
and that's what makes that's the icing on the cake for us when you do something like this, that someone turns around a year later and says, no, I'm still fine. That's whatever it was that you removed for them, it's still gone. Which is wonderful. I had a client, I would say probably my most difficult, not difficult in terms of how difficult it was to treat her, but in terms of where she was at. She was very, very low, very, very low. And she came to me at that point where she just had exhausted everything and pretty much thought that was the end. And within a few sessions, and this wasn't just, I did self-directed healing with her, but I also did some intuitive healing as well. And that was required for this lady. And without going into her details, we got rid of a huge amount of weight that she was carrying around. And we also found like a new path forward. And she's now gone from 0 to hero. And she's flying. She's at the top of her game now. And every time I see what she's doing, I'm not going to say, oh, I did that. I didn't do that. She did that. But I'm happy and proud to think that I helped her at least.
You were involved. Yeah, because without that, it's like you're a tour guide pointing them in the right direction. They still have to climb the mountain, but
100%.
them the way.
That's a great way of putting it, Matt. But so I've got some really wonderful positive stories, and even from a group healing session where it's a lot more generic, I've had some really good feedback from those saying that they've had big shifts just from like a half an hour group session. And it shows that it doesn't have to be very, very specific. It can be quite generic, and it still has those effects, which is, it's such an amazing tool to have under our belt, and to be able to do that for someone is, priceless, really.